Hey, it's Aaron.
It's Spencer.
We're the MVP coverage team, and we're doing our weekly tournament report. Thanks, Derek. So far, let's see, the tournament we had today. No, actually, before we talk about the tournament.
Lost train of thought.
Throwing this thing out the window. All right. So today,
curse on the internet.
So we had the Abyss Rising Special Edition come out today, and I saw so many Megalos cracked. It was ridiculous.
Oh my god!
I honestly think they top loaded that thing.
Every one in a case.
Every single one.
Every box in a case had one.
Wow. Every
Just
single
the
box
one
in a
case.
case had one.
As soon as the second case was open, no one pulled it.
Wow, that's crazy. I pulled a mini box. I needed a mini box, so I just bought one. I was like, yeah, whatever. I got my Dark Smog and like Attack the Moon.
Attack the moon.
My Megalo.
Favorite play.
So yeah, MVP. Here's our shill for MVP. Abyss Rising Special Editions for $7. Like, Walmart doesn't even get them, and B, full on retail for that would be like.
Oh yeah, it's like $10.
Yeah, it's like $10. So come to MVP, get them for $7. Seems okay. And
Yeah,
like that.
or if you want an entire case of it, 62.
Yeah, it was like $60 for an entire case.
It's 62 for 6 more packs. Plus the
And it's pretty much like that across the board for anything singles and sealed. All right, that's enough shilling for MVP. We'll get on to the tournament. Today's tournament we had 22 people, like 2 people down from last week, but still like being able to hold a solid 25 person tournament.
Yeah,
is
usually I bring around 2 or 3 people with me, but none of them really wanted to come because it's actually finals week at Hack. So,
well, I'm glad all your friends go to a community college.
Well, how do you think how do you think I'm friends with them? I go to community college.
All right. So the next thing we're gonna go over is interesting decks, and the first one is a spicy one from Dara, like usual. Dara has brought us such treasures as Robo Rabbit and Robo Rabbit. Robo Rabbit being Robo Rabbit was a rescue rabbit deck that grabbed Mechanical Chaser and the other
XYZ Dragon Cannon.
XYZ Dragon Cannon, and then you overlay into
or Head Cannon, something like that.
Yeah, you overlay into Gear Gigon X, and then it still runs the Machina. And,
yeah, around Fortress and whatnot.
Yeah, so it was just I think Brad ended up taking that to a regional, and he started off like 6-0, and then he just
plummeted.
He went bad. He done played bad. So
okay.
Yeah, if it was 6-0, he would have totally made time.
Yeah. But yeah, so he brought us Chain Beat. He was telling me about this deck like for the last couple of weeks. He's just like, yeah, I just haven't had time to put it together, and it's basically what it sounds like. It's a lot of the Chain Burn engine. It plays like 22 traps in the deck.
Yeah,
he told me that. And I was like, what are you doing?
It was like, I actually played it. It was
you actually played against it?
Yes,
well, I played against it too. Yeah.
It was what was it? Secret Barrel and Chain Strike, but it burned because I could see.
Yeah, well, it plays
and Accumulated Future.
Yeah, it plays a lot of the chain burn like chain cards. So like you're gonna see, was it Chain Strike, Accumulated Fortune, Secret Barrel. I think he plays Just Desserts too.
I didn't see it.
He flipped I think he flipped Just Desserts on me. But basically, you're playing a bunch of cards that give you that chain. Just keep adding stuff onto the chain. But he also plays Wind Up Rabbit, so you can add stuff onto the chain and also beat down. And he played Seal of Orichalcos, so he could make those rabbits really big. And then on top of that, he played the sick trap card was Compulsory
Escape Device.
Yeah, Compulsory Escape Device, the card out of Abyss Rising, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, no. It was the pack before. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. It was Return of the Duelist.
Oh, it was Return of the.
Yep.
I remember playing it in limited for the sneak peek.
Yep.
But basically, if you don't know what the card does, your opponent chooses a monster on their side of the field, and then you choose a monster on your side of the field, and then they are both sent back to the deck. So what he would do is, he would add a bunch of stuff on the chain. So you would go, he'd activate Escape Device. Chain Rabbit, so you've got 2 chain links there, and then he just flip every single card in his back row. Desert, Secret Barrel, Chain Strike, and then Accumulated Fortune. So he's got like a seven card chain right there, which is insane. Like most of the time, you get your normal 5. Like you just set your 5. All right, at most I'm going to get 4 or 5 off. This is like you get 7 and just blew people out. And then he's got the rabbits. They dodge destruction. And then Seal's just like
They're the
beaten.
ultimate floaters.
Yeah, it was,
And then boom, rabbit lock. It's like, well, it's pretty easy to get
oh yeah,
that
and they had the
lock.
rabbit lock with Seal Vorkalko. So he's got 2 rabbits on the field. You can't attack him because it's the old Moron and Captain lock. So that was ridiculous. He ended up making top. I think he made top 8 or top 4. I can't remember.
Top 4.
Top 4. Yeah, just something people didn't see coming. It was pretty funny. I played against it. I 2-0'd him in like I think 4 minutes, including siding, just because he had nothing. The next one would be Earthbound Immortals. What is with all these janky ass decks? Just the Earthbound Immortal deck is a deck Adam Hauk's been playing for a solid 2 or 3 years. He's just played that deck this all. So he's got it tuned and he knows like every line of that deck. But it's basically you play Earthbound Immortals. So you try to get a hardened arm. You try to get a hardened arm dragon out, and then you end up sacking it for an Earthbound Immortal. So it can't be destroyed by card effects. It's going to keep attacking you directly, and you have to destroy it by battle. But a lot of them have the effect is that you can't target them by battle, or you can't target them as an attack target.
You can't. Well, if they have on the field, you can't attack them at all.
Yeah,
unless they have another monster.
And then it runs the Gear Town engine.
Yeah, I played against that too. That was not fun. That was not fun for me.
But yeah, it was
I lost because of timeout.
Bad.
Shut up.
But yeah, I mean, it's just a weird deck that just like he ended up having 2 draws in Swiss.
Oh,
which is just terrible. But he ended up like getting in on breakers.
just because the one
it's
draw.
just a weird deck, but it's cool.
Oh.
I mean, I do a deck profile on it if it was so terrible.
It was so janky.
No, but he's been playing that deck forever, and it's just a matter of time. Like you're eventually just gonna. If anybody knows that deck,
It's gonna lose it. You're gonna lose against the timeout. Just remember that you'll lose to timeout.
I watch him sit on a marshmallow for like no reason, just like eat your 1,000. And then the last, the next one would be Fish OTK. We're not going to talk about that one a lot, just because we did a deck profile on it. If you're really like interested in Fish OTK because
I was running.
You hate your life, then go check out the deck profile.
Wait, did you say if you hate your life?
Yeah, like if you actually like want to do damage to your own brain, I'd check out that deck profile.
Well then, sir, I have something to say, but I will not say it on camera.
And the last one's Dragoonity. Izzy played Dragoonity.
Top 8.
Yeah, he made top 8. It was just
They lost to Dare.
yeah. Well, it sucks because he round 1 he played against another guy who ended up making top 8 with Prophecy, and he ended up losing 2-0, but he had game on board because he had the Dragoonity combo where he could just went into Scrap Dragon, pop his Ravine, and then attack for game, but. He built the extra deck just so hastily. He's like, oh, there's Astral Packs here. I'll just build a deck real quick, and forgot Scrap Dragon's costume. But yeah, after that he just rolled everybody.
Yeah, I think one thing was he also only ran 2 vaginas. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Vaginianas. I just call them
Good
vaginas.
try.
I just call them vaginas.
Good try.
It's not worth it.
Yeah. All right, so that's it for interesting decks. So moving on, top 8, we had 1 Prophecy deck, 2 Macro Rabbit, 1 Chain Beat, 1 Agent, 1 Dragoonity, 1 Junk Plant, and 1 Earthbound Immortal deck.
Oh,
Like the jankiest top 8 of all time.
Junk Plant Quasar.
Yeah, it was basically like Rich Barton piloted the deck, and if anybody's going to bring out Quasar, it's going to be that guy. Like everybody's going to be super pumped for Lavels. Like, oh, Lavel Quasar, yeah, whatever. Like we've been making Quasar like the hard way. If you like you're one of those old guys, like back in my day, we made Quasar with Hyper Librarian.
They still do, just with
Yeah.
like, oh, cool, it's like my 3 rekindlings.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I'm not excited. Like I'm not looking forward at all to the Lavel Quasar BS. Like screw that.
I've seen builds on it, and I don't. It's whatever.
Yeah. All right. So next section would be Cool Tech. I hate this card so much. I mentioned it. I mentioned it in my profile. I hate it now.
It won you the top.
It won me the finals. But Ally of Justice Core Destroyer. I wasn't a huge fan of my agent matchup, so I was like, I had 1 spot left. I was like, all right. Well, options are Tsukiyomi, which I've been playing in Wind Up sideboard for a while. Leeching the Light, which was like the old.
Yeah,
like you played it in Agents if you were playing the mirror match, or if you just needed that push.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a huge fan of it.
It's pretty much a spell card if you're playing a lights that's honest. If I could.
What did you just say?
It's an honest.
It literally hurts to know you.
if you're playing a light deck like Lightsworns or Agents, it would be the honest for your deck.
Yeah, like you're putting a ton. Like if you're playing if you have lights on the board and they also have lights, like you're putting a ton of damage. Like other than it's a Hyperion. I'm already adding a ton. But I wasn't a fan of it just because it was kind of like a one-time thing. So I ended up settling on Ally of Justice Core Destroyer, that card is just terrible. Like everyone has hated that card, and the only reason I played it is because if I ended up getting it and I could protect it, I could literally turn that deck off, and I did.
Something so hilarious.
It was bad. Like I drew it, I was like, man, really? And then I was like, oh wait, this card's really good right now.
It's like, oh wait,
bye Christian.
Christian.
I had a macro on the field, so it was like bye Christian. Oh, it was bad because he had. Oh, we talked about it in the deck profile, but he was sitting there. I had a Core Destroyer, and he had 3 Heralds in his hand. He had 3 Heralds in his hand, and what he ended up using was what's the spell card? Give him 1,000 life points. So he ended up having Soul. He had
That's your favorite card, and you can't remember it.
Yeah, long day. That's what happens when you win tournaments.
Oh, shut up.
So he was thinking, what he was thinking was summon the Herald, attack, and Core Destroyer has to do it. It's not a May, or you can choose one to activate it. So Core Destroyer's effect would activate, killing the Herald, and then he would discard the 2 other Heralds to get rid of it. It was like the worst play you could make. But he if you're sitting with 3 Heralds in hand, obviously he had the Soul Taker, but he just ended up Soul Taking.
No. What happened was you still had macro on the field. That's why
I had macro on the field. That's why he did.
That's why he didn't do it on Christia.
But I don't know if he would actually do it though. Like
if he had Christia on his field, yeah, he would do it. If he had Christia on the field, I would do it any day.
Well, I'm talking about the Christia was already gone.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
but
he had all 3 in his hand while he had Christia.
Oh, that's true.
And he topped the Soul Taker.
Yeah. So yeah, that won me the game. Just because he just didn't have an answer until he drew the Soul Taker, and after that, I'd already taken out a Hyperion and Christia. So that's what that card does. Next on the list is Debunk, and it's again right now sideboards are so focused on graveyard hate. It's just a matter of finding what do you think is going to work best, and people have been sticking with the old favorites, D-Fissure and Macro, which is fine. But I think Debunk does so much more.
It does, especially with Wind Up Shark and Abyss Megalo.
Yeah, if you can just ramble off the things that it stops. The High Priestess kills High Priestess because it activates in the hand by revealing. Megalo kills and removes Megalo. Any or all hand traps like Veilers, Maxi, Tragodia, Gores,
Battle
Fader,
Man,
not Thunderspark Dragon, Thunder Seahorse. Like literally, just keep going down the line.
Well, you technically could hit Thunderspark Dragon too.
Why? Thunderspark Dragon, the Exceed.
Oh no, not that one.
The Exceed.
I'm just thinking of Thunder Dragon.
Yeah, you could stop a Thunder Dragon. Like, oh man, I'm gonna lose to this Exodi deck, Thunder Dragon. Yeah, no, it's terrible. But yeah, it stops a lot, and then it removes it from play. So Debunk is definitely something you should look at. If your deck's actually graveyard reliant and you can't bring in any graveyard hate like D-Fissures or Macro, then you should be bringing in Debunks and no question asked.
Debunk, or you could be pro like me and just run more traps in your frogs.
Next would be Phoenix Chain. Phoenix Chain is definitely on a swing back.
Oh yeah, it's pretty good. That card
is back to being good. I played it.
I don't think it's ever been not good. It just lost popularity, in my opinion.
It was not really highly regarded for the longest time. Like before, probably 2 years ago, before Nationals, I wasn't seeing a ton of play. The only time I'd ever saw anybody play the card was in Rich's Uriah deck, and then they got hot for some reason, and then not for some reason, they got hot because it was good. Yeah. And then popped to $35, and then I don't know. When did it really fall off play?
I'm thinking right after YCS Philly, or right before, either right before or right after.
Yeah, because Chaos Dragons were a thing, and you weren't really. Chaos Dragons were pretty terrible, or Phoenix Chain's pretty.
They were
terrible.
derpy. That's
at
that point in time.
What's the point of having a Phoenix Chain on the field if they're just bringing big dragons?
Exactly. I mean, the only thing it would really be good for is the red MD.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, even still, they're gonna Lila out of it, so that's probably. And then it's kind of on the upswing now, just because there's a ton of decks.
Yeah,
Chaos Dragons
fell out of rotation a little bit. So
yeah, that card just punishes people. It's really good. Last one is Starlight. Have you noticed the increase in Starlight play?
Starlight, yeah. I mean, well, mostly because I'm thinking they might be watching your videos because remember before you were watching, saying how good Mirror Force was because people aren't running Starlight, and now you're saying Starlight is good.
Well, it's just weird. Like everyone's decks that I saw today, they were either mainboarding or sideboarding Starlight.
Mm-hmm.
Which I mean,
well, except for the ones that didn't really have a lot of back rows.
Well, even Josh's Prophecy deck, he sideboarded Starlight.
Yeah, he sided it because he had a lot of continuous cards that were sideboarded, like the Shadow Imprisoning, Land Imprisoning.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about it. Like, I played it today, and it was pretty much just dead. I did not get one Starlight activation, and most of the time sided it out until it saw its best play game 1 in the finals, where I went into Dino, and he had Torrential, and I was like, oh, man. And then I was like, oh, wait, this is a Starlight. Get my free Stardust. And he just looks, and, Drew's just like, ah.
I was waiting for you to say it.
No. Bliggity blam, there's my dragon.
Yes, that's what I was waiting for.
Trademark.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. Like, a lot of the times, it's just dead. Like, I draw it at the wrong time.
Yeah. I mean, even if you don't have Stardust, it's still negates.
Well, yeah, like, it's one of those things. Is it worth, like... You have to, the pro and con, like the con is it's just going to be dead, but the pro is, if it does happen, the upside is just so huge. Like stopping their power spell, stopping their, Black Rose is not so much relevant, but stopping the Heavy Storm, Torrential, Dark Hole, and then not only stopping that big power spell, but also getting a free Stardust out of it.
Yep.
Like maybe it's just worth it just to have it dead once in a while.
I mean, if you really don't have the space for it,
don't fit it in. Don't try to jam it as your 45th card.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say for the Starlight, but I mean for the Stardust, but you're the one Starlight. Use a huge revolution is over. I mean, it's the same thing as same thing as Starlight Road. It's a common, but again, same thing as Starlight Road. You don't get the special summon of the Stardust if you don't have the Stardust in your extra deck, and it's a quick play. So Less can stop it.
I don't know. I think that's part of the biggest draw of playing Starlight Road is just the huge If Starlight Road was just negate any effect that destroys two things on your side of the field, I wouldn't play it. But it's just the fact that you get on top of that, you get a Stardust.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. If you don't have the room for the Stardust,
if you
don't have the room for it, or you can't find it.
I don't know. I guess like a wind up extra deck is pretty jam packed.
Yeah. I mean, some people will protect that Stardust, but
All right. So going on to the finals. The finals was Macro Rabbit. Macro Rabbit versus Andrew Barden in the finals with Agents, and they were both really good matches. But no, I mean nothing. It was pretty crazy. Like game 2, we top decked like fairly early because he ran a cards in hand because he had 2 early Herald plays he had to do. No, it wasn't really anything like I didn't open like top four against Josh. Josh, if you're watching this, I'm so sorry. I opened up double Rabbit Tour Guide both games.
Leave a comment about how much you love him.
Yeah,
just leave him a comment.
Sorry, Josh, I love you. But yeah, but it wasn't like that all day. It was just a grind.
Yeah,
like, there were maybe
game 2 was how he got that the Core Destroyer.
Yeah, Core Destroyer was clutching game 2. But like for the whole entire day, like I'd never played Macro Rabbit before, so I didn't know what to expect. Like. I didn't know if it was just going to be drawing normal dinos all day or if it was going to be like opening the nuts. Honestly, it was just pretty much opening the nuts. Like
it happens sometimes. I mean, like, of course, there's on and off. I mean, today was one of those days where it was good.
Like I didn't.
The deck wants you.
In Swiss, I 2-0'd everyone except Andrew in the last round of Switch, which didn't matter. Like we might as well just drawn because we were both making top 8. But then all through top 8, I didn't drop a game to anyone. Like, it was just, I don't know. I can see why people are attracted to the deck. Like, I like the deck because it reminds me of playing Stun. Just because that's what
pretty much is. Pretty much is.
It's definitely...
A very sacky Stun.
Yeah. Well, with Stun, I was just, like, relying on Doom Cows and Thunder Kings and Fossil Dinos. But this is like, I get this one card that, like, gives me the nuts. And then I can do it again if I draw a Tour Guide.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's just, like, a lot of people think Agents are the control deck of the format, and no, like, Macro Rabbit is by far just so much more controlling.
Yeah, I'd say they go...
Probably a lot less reliable.
They kind of go a little bit hand in hand.
Well, yeah, they're obviously both control decks.
Yeah, they're both very controlled decks. I mean, of course,
it's just a matter of figuring out if one's better than the other.
Whenever I do run agents, I run in more explosive agents.
Yeah.
Which is the Gen X Sally Birdman within the deck, so you can go into Stardust and then
I was surprised. Like I talked to Andrew before, like all during Swiss, and I was telling him, I've seen a lot of these builds, main decking the double banisher in the sideboard, and I was like, man, doesn't that seem counterintuitive? He's like, yeah, I don't know if I would do it, but he understood why you do it. Basically,
it's a fairy.
Well, besides that, like it's a fairy, whatever. Nobody cares. It's the fact that like if you're gonna get RFG'd, like somebody's gonna be bringing it in against you. You might as well be able to control. Like if there's gonna be RFG, you're gonna want it on your terms.
Yeah.
So if you're playing against Mermail, you want the tempo with your own like by summoning the Banisher. They're not gonna see it coming. They're not really gonna have anything to sideboard against it other than just trying to run it over.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's basically just a tempo play. Like you want to be in control of the game and try to get rid of that. Try to get rid of the Banisher or sack it or just whatever you can or just ram it in once you're ready to kind of go off. Obviously, those are kind of at the far end of the spectrum. But it's basically if you want to be in control of the RFG.
Exactly.
And I don't know if I would do it, but I can see the logic behind it.
Oh, of course. I can see how it's good.
Yeah, but it was definitely like main decking the triple macro all day it was a blowout. I was really worried because I knew so many people, like I'd seen so many lists where people were just doing the 2 because they didn't want, they didn't want 2 dead cards against a graveyard not reliant deck, much less the 3rd. But every single matchup that I played had some kind of reliance, whether it was huge like Mermail or if it was very small like Prophecy.
Mm-hmm.
It was great all day. Like I was really glad that I main decked the 3rd. But overall, I was happy with the deck. I can definitely see why people play it.
You can't go wrong with Mac Rabbit. I mean, I played it for a while and I liked it, but you
get dead Dino hands. It happens.
Yeah, it happens. But I mean, I'm one of those people that's just trying to find their deck right now. I mean,
you'll find love at some point.
Oh, shut up! I've been rejected so many times.
So many times I've tried so many decks and I kept drawing Shine Balls or normal Dinos. Or Gladiator Beast that didn't do anything.
The first deck I ever made was Fish OTK, and I came back with
that. Explains a lot.
It was my first love, and so far it's been my last love so far.
Yeah, let's see. It's gonna cheat on you with some better deck.
Oh, shut up!
It's like, I can do better than this.
Frognarks.
Go for it. I'm all for it. I was gonna play Frognark today.
I actually would not not mind playing that. I just really miss the form of Monarchs. I really do.
Yeah, that deck needed to go away, though.
Oh, that was so good.
It was busted. That was just beyond needing to happen. Yeah, I think Monarchs are in a good spot. And by good spot,
except for against you.
Yeah, well, no, I think Monarchs are in a great spot. Game 1, that deck's good game 1, but game 2 and that's the main reason I didn't play the deck today. It's just because every single deck is sideboarding so much sideboard or graveyard hate. It's just like, why would you walk into a buzzsaw? Like if you're walking through a hallway and everything's like flowers and pretty pictures, you're like, oh, this is awesome. But then you turn the corner and it's just like machete wielding psychos. But you're like, oh, well, I knew this beforehand. I'm just like,
walking assault,
summer assault around him. It's like, no, you're gonna die, and he's gonna wear your skin on his face. Like, there's no reason to do that.
I was gonna say, welcome to Saul. Let's play a game, but that works too.
Oh, we'll play a game. It's called Macrocosmos or DD Crow. Just DD Crow riding a tricycle with the mask. And kids, that's why we don't play Frognark.
I need a moment.
No need to compose yourself. We're signing off. So that was our weekly tournament report. Go ahead and rate, comment, subscribe, and go check out our other videos. We should have last week's feature match videos posted. So go ahead and go check those out, and then check out the deck profiles we did this week.
What was Prophecies, Mac Rabbit?
Yeah, we did Josh Hender's Prophecy deck. We did your Fish OTK deck, and then we did my tournament winning Macro Rabbit deck.
Always gotta put in the winning part.
Yep, always.
Charlie Sheen.
Rabbit. All right, so that's it for us. This is us signing off. I'm Aaron Horner.
I'm Spencer Call.
And we're signing off for the MVP coverage team.
Your MVP for Yu-Gi-Oh! Strategy.
I will never get used to that. It's so cheesy being cheesy. That should be part of the sign-off.